I love anime and manga. I think this channel is a testament to that very fact. And one of the ways I like to express my love for something is through merchandise. Yes, very capitalist indeed, but I like stuff, so there you go. And for anime and manga in specific, I have prop swords, posters, millennium items, cosplays, and most importantly, figures. Lots and lots of figures. So in this video I will be showing off to you my figure collection, and to bring some entertainment factors to this video I'll be giving some fun stories and whatnot as I show off each of my many figures. And also, because I'm curious myself, for each figure I will include a price somewhere on the screen of what I roughly paid for it, and then at the end of the video we can collectively cry at the absurd amount of money I've wasted on pieces of plastic and resin. Okay, everyone ready? Let's go. Dragonball was the first anime I watched where I knew it was anime, and for that it holds a lot of nostalgia for me. So when it came time to get my first figure, it was of course a Dragonball one. This SH Figure Arts Shenron is easily the most expensive figure I own, being bought for a ripe old 100 quid off good old amazon.co.uk. And I was a lot more naive about prices back then, as this was my first figure after all, so that's why I spent £100 when on other sites it's considerably cheaper. But as a centerpiece, it's amazing. It's my largest figure and just looks cool. Sadly my Shenron is missing a whisker and I don't want to display him with just one, so hey, now he ain't got any. The figure overall is very good, pretty good articulation considering what it is, and fills the role of a centerpiece really well. Yeah, it costs a lot, but as my first figure I cannot complain. The Bandai Hobby Figure Eye Standard Krillin is my cheaper answer to the Figure Arts Krillin I wanted but couldn't afford at the time. I'm not sure why of all characters I have a Krillin figure, but who knows. This figure, for what it is actually quite amazing. Great articulation and posability, and all manner of accessories which are actually at my parents' house at the moment, so I can't really use them or show them to you, but just trust me that they do exist. It also was a figure you assemble yourself, which is fun. From the same line as Krillin comes Android 18, and yes, I got these two as a pair as well, you know they are married in the show. Android 18 as a figure looks much better than Krillin, but has slightly less accessories, but not enough to make the figure bad. However, my figure in specific is a nightmare. This one leg keeps falling off, and lots of pieces just don't slot in, and well, it's a mess. And due to this bloody leg, I have a lot less posability options, so on that front this figure ain't the best. That's why I got another Android 18 figure, this time from Dragonball Super by Banpresto. And yes, this is the point I switched from articulated figures to static ones. It's just a personal preference, but I'll take a more show accurate model with no ugly articulation joints over a posable figure any day of the week. And this figure also happens to be the first one I brought at a convention, being May MCM Comic Con 2018. And yes, convention figures are expensive, something I did not know at the time, but hey, I like this figure a lot, so who cares? Android 18, if you can't tell, is a favourite Dragon Ball character of mine, and that's why I have two of her figures. I'm not a big fan of her super design, but the dynamic pose of this figure is something I quite like, so I'm not displeased with this figure one bit. I also got this Super Saiyan 3 Banpresto Goku at the same convention, but for a really rip-off price, £40 I spent on this. And then when I came home from Comic Con, I found the same figure for $15 online, but hey, there's just something special about having a figure you got from a convention. And yeah, the figure itself, it's cool. I love the Super Saiyan 3 design, and this figure really shows off the volume of Goku's hair, so in that regard I'm not disappointed. My main gripe though is that he's doing a Kamehameha, but there's nothing in between his hands, so it just looks a tad weird to me. Piccolo is the last Dragon Ball figure in my collection, being brought again at a convention, this time London Films and Comic Con 2019. Oh and yes, this is also a Banpresto figure. Piccolo is my favourite Dragon Ball character, so I've been wanting to get a figure of him from the very start, and this one is perfect, as he's doing a special beam cannon, one of my favourite attacks in the series, and he's wearing his turbulent cape, as trust me, it's kinda hard to find Piccolo figures with this get up, and it is genuinely what he looks best in. This figure just aesthetically ticks all the boxes for me, and is probably my favourite Dragon Ball figure behind Shenron. Behind Dragon Ball, the series I have the most figures of, not counting a weird exception I will talk about later, is One Piece with 5, maybe 6 whole figures. First up is my Banpresto Dracula Mihawk, another good old convention buy, this time from May MCM Comic Con 2019, which is kind of fitting as that is the con I cosplayed as Luffy for. And yeah, I kind of have a funny story about this figure, but to tell it I need to give a bit of context, so bear with me. While in the line for this convention, I met a guy cosplaying Zoro, and well, we immediately hit it off as captains and vice captains do, and became good friends, spending the whole convention together, and when looking at stalls we both spied this Mihawk figure and both wanted to buy it. However, neither of us did, and after splitting ways after a really amazing photo shoot, I went to do some figure shopping, and the Mihawk figure was still there, so I waited until I was just about to leave, and well, he never went and brought it, so I scooped it up. And yes, I know I sound like an ass, but I know Vince has the same figure in his collection now, and probably for a cheaper price anyway, so please guys, I'm not the arsehole. But okay, story time out of the way, onto the figure. Mihawk is my favourite One Piece character, so of course I wanted a figure of him. And although there are cooler Mihawk figures I've seen since, this one is not bad. Yoru, his sword if you didn't know, looks great, and the face, which can be a bit off on some figures, looks almost identical to how it does in the anime. So overall a great figure, and sorry Vince if you're watching, I just couldn't resist buying it. Shanks is my second favourite One Piece character, so of course my second One Piece figure would be of him. And yeah, this ain't a favourite figure of mine, it's fine, but the cape is really large and so the figure takes up way more space than it looks like it should. And although this is 100% my fault, when I brought the figure and assembled it, I kind of snapped off one of the foot pegs, leading to this god awful glue job that, let's be real, just looks terrible. And because of how bad the glue job is, the whole figure tilts backwards and it just don't look right. But yeah, this is 100% my fault, and I am sure an intact Banpresto Shanks figure wouldn't look as bad as mine. Oh, and I just got this figure on eBay if anyone was wondering. Next up is Whitebeard, and this was my first figure brought off the always reliable and totally not shady Wish.com. And although yes, half the time stuff from Wish doesn't arrive, if you are lucky you can get some good deals on anime figures, but watch out for fakes as they are quite common on the site. However, this Whitebeard figure is one I'm pretty sure ain't a fake. Whitebeard is my third favourite One Piece character. I'm starting to see a trend here, and this figure demonstrates his raw power and presence brilliantly. Just looking at this figure really gives me a feeling of this man is strong, and that is just the impression any Whitebeard figure should give. My fourth One Piece figure is Jinbei, and sadly no, Jinbei is not my fourth favourite One Piece character, he's only my seventh. But yeah, this one I'm pretty sure is a fake, or just a really bad figure to start with as well. This Jinbei DXGK figure statue thing does exist, so either this one is a real beat up real one or a fake. As come on, look at this face. That's why I don't recommend buying figures from Wish.com. However, from a distance the figure looks pretty good, and it's certainly the most dynamic and diorama-ish of all my figure collection. And yeah, it's probably a fake and has a face only a mother can love, but at least from a distance it looks pretty epic. Next up is my post-time skip Zoro figure, which a bit like my Jinbei has a bit of an ugly mug, and also his muscles are really shiny. But enough with the negatives. I got this figure at October MCM Comic Con 2019 for a pretty reasonable price if I remember correctly. It has a very dynamic feel to it as a figure, and although it's only 2-sword style not 3-sword, the action pose is cool for the simple reason that I can pose it with the Mihawk figure I own, as if they're about to have their end of story duel. One issue I have though is that a piece of the kimono fell off in the time between me buying the figure and bringing it home, but it stays on if you were just displaying the figure, so it's not the end of the world. Last up is this. It's not really a figure, but it's a One Piece related thing, so why not show it off. This is a model of the Red Force, as in Shanks and the Redhead Pirate's ship. Again, this was brought from Wish.com. Yeah, I had a weird phase of browsing Wish all day. But hey, this model is actually pretty cool. It's fairly screen accurate, and although some of the stickers on mine are missing or peeling off, that's more the fault of me being bad at putting stickers on than anything else. So yeah, not really a figure, but cool nonetheless, and a nice piece of decoration for my windowsill. Jojo's is a popular series, who would have guessed, and there are as such a hell of a lot of Jojo figures. Sadly though, I only own two. First is this Banpresto Leona Bakio figure from Part 5 of Jojo's, which I brought from May MCM Comic Con 2019. As a figure it does the job, it's very screen accurate, gives off the air the characters should, and overall just is a good representation of one of my favourite Jojo characters. Second is this Part 4 Jotaro Kujo figure, and would you believe it, it's made by bloody Banpresto. It seems like they may have a monopoly on anime figures or something. But jokes aside, this figure is great. It's screen accurate, has quite a bit of dynamicness with the flowing cape, collar and trousers, and although the face seems way more accurate to the manga than the anime, that's no problem to me. The only minor issue I have is the stance. His legs are a bit too spread out for my liking, but that is a small gripe. And just like when I brought that Mihawk figure, I had a serious accurate cosplay when I brought this figure at October MCM Comic Con 2019, as I was wearing my Part 4 Jotaro cosplay when I brought this Part 4 Jotaro figure. And sadly this figure doesn't have the same Part 4 outfit as my cosplay, but hey, I was Jotaro buying another Jotaro, to me that's just cool. Gintama is my second favourite series ever, and despite being very underrated and unknown in the West, there are actually a hell of a lot of Gintama figures out there. But finding them here in the West is kind of a pain. At least it was to me till I found the answer to all my figure buying issues, eBay auctions. eBay auctions are a godsend. There are loads of people in Japan who auction second-hand figures for cheap, and that's how I've gotten most of my figures in recent times. I do feel a bit bad I'm not supporting the creators directly by buying second-hand figures, but I'd rather buy an expensive figure I really like new from a creator and then get the rest cheap off eBay. But yeah, eBay is great, and thanks to one of my favourite eBay users, Sakura0418, I was able to win and buy this Sakata Gintoki figure. Being second hand, it has a few paint scratches and whatnot. Oh, and the handlebar kind of is broken, but I just keep it fixed with a piece of blue tack. But this kind of stuff really doesn't bother me at all. But yeah, if you like your figures in perfect condition, then eBay auctions may not be for you. Anyway, this figure, including Gintoki's scooter and all, has a very different profile to my other figures, and so kind of pops amongst the rest. The face especially gives off a classic bald Gintoki look, and the whole figure just feels like Gintama, so yeah, a great figure. And if I have Gintoki, then why not also have his rival and once friend, Takasagi? This figure again was brought off eBay, this time from JobJob72. It is pretty much what it says on the tin, a figure of Takasagi, though this cloak second kimono thing can come off, so that's something. Again, nothing special, just a cool figure of one of my favourite anime antagonists. So we've gone from my second favourite series ever to my third. Megumin is one of my favourite characters in fiction, period, so of course I have a figure of her. In fact, for the moment, I have two. The first is this Legend of Crimson Megumin figure, which gets across her sadistic, explosion-obsessed personality perfectly. It's just what I expect from a Megumin figure, and it's one of my favourite figures in my entire collection. However, it's completely outclassed by this beauty. The Sega Legend of Crimson Megumin Limited Premium figure is my favourite figure by miles. It just has such personality and character to it that nothing else I own possesses. If you follow my Twitter, you've probably seen this figure a few times, and I just love it that much. If my other figure gets across Megumin's sadistic and badass side, then this one gets across the cute, fun and wholesome side of Megumin that I love so much. Also, Chimosuke is here, and that's just amazing. My one issue with this figure is that one foot peg broke off like really easily, but that's kind of my fault, and does nothing to lower my opinion of the figure as a whole. Both of these figures were birthday presents I got myself for my 20th birthday, so I definitely treat myself well, and were both brought using a service I only recently found, that being White Rabbit Express, which allows you to shop on Japanese sites and then get the product shipped overseas to your home country. And although it ain't the cheapest service, it's great for people like me in the UK who have to pay loads of shipping anyway. And these two weren't the cheapest in the world, but not the most expensive either. Just under 100 for the pair with shipping, and yeah, I could have waited a few months for this one to release in the UK and get it 20 quid cheaper, but hell no was I doing that. So yeah, I highly recommend White Rabbit Express and commend them, if only because they delivered to me my favourite anime figure. And although they haven't arrived or been dispatched to be honest yet, I've also pre-ordered these two Good Smile Company pop-up parade Konosuba figures of Aqua and Megumin respectively. And look, they're not very pricey for new figures and look amazing, so yeah, I snapped them up. So if you want to see them when they arrive in January, then follow either my Twitter or Instagram, links in the description. Lastly for Konosuba, I have this, and although yes, this may look like an Aqua figure, it actually isn't. This is from a ReZero Konosuba crossover event, and this is in fact Emilia wearing Aqua's clothes. See, look at the ears. So yes, technically this isn't Konosuba, but hey, it took me a while to work this out, so yeah, call me an idiot. But this figure is cool, it gives off a fun vibe and has some real fun energy to it. And although I don't have it yet, I do plan to purchase the pair to this figure, Aqua wearing Emilia's clothes. Not counting my Aqua/Emilia figure, I have two other ReZero figures in total, both of Best Girl Rem. The first is another eBay buy, this time of the Yuki Onna variety, and this figure is in pretty rough shape as far as my second hand figures go, with quite a few paint scruffs, but it's still Rem, and at the end of the day it looks great. I really think the blue eyes on the base and the clothing colour really just suits Rem and makes the figure pop. My other Rem figure is far more traditional, with her this time sporting her usual maid getup, complete with a tray. I especially love the checkered base of this figure, it really gets across the maid aesthetic, and yeah, it looks like Rem and there ain't much more to it. Oh, and this figure was again from eBay, from the before mentioned Sakura0418. When I said I kind of had more figures from one series than I did from One Piece earlier, My Hero Academia was the series in question, for reasons that will become clear soon enough. However, first here's my Ochako Uraraka figure. Uraraka is probably a top 10 My Hero character for me. However, to be honest, when it comes to My Hero figures, there ain't much choice, as despite being as popular as it is, there really ain't too many figures for any of the more minor or supported cast. So if I wanted some female representation from the series, at a reasonable price, Uraraka was the only logical choice. But yeah, this figure is pretty standard. I like the flowing of her hair and her determined look, There's just so many cooler Uraraka figures out there that I can't exactly say I'm fully satisfied with this figure. This is what I meant when I said I kinda had more than 6 My Hero Academia figures, as well technically these are each their own figure, but yeah, they are small boys. Now considering I already said I like screen and proportion accurate figures, then why the hell would I buy these? Well, for one reason. Jiro. Any long-time subscriber of mine knows how much I adore Jiro's character, so of course I want a figure of her. However, the only one out is this bad girl, which is awesome and something I really want, but alas I cannot afford it. And PS, the Belfine line also has an amazing Mina and Uraraka I want as well, but I digress. So in order to have at least some aspect of Jiro in my collection, I got this little one, but for the sake of getting the best bang for my buck, I ended up getting a set of 6, from Wish. Yeah, I had a problem. And now that's how I ended up with these others, which ain't bad as Mina, Kirishima and Bakugo are again some of my favourite characters in the series, but well, Ojiro and Present Mike aren't really, but hey, the more figures the better, right? Quintessential Quintuplets is my go-to harem anime, and Miku is by far best girl, and that may be because she was focused on the most in season 1, but I don't care, she is a top waifu. So when I saw there was a figure of her, I snapped it up, and this figure is genuinely great. The pieces aren't fixed, so you get great customization options, and unlike most of my other figures, she has different faces, and well, yeah, I will always have this face on display as it's just so cute, but the option is there and I like that. Yeah, I love this figure, it's great and really captures the wholesomeness of Miku. Oh, and apparently my second favourite girl in the show, Achika, is also getting a figure by the same company, so you know that I'm getting that in the future. Ryuk is the best Shinigami in anime, except for Asamon, and I guess Bleach has a few pretty cool Shinigamis. Okay, the point is I have a Ryuk figure, and doesn't he look great, sat on my Death Note. But back to the realm of figures, this Ryuk is pretty cool. The wings stick up at different angles a bit, which bugs the hell out of me, and the transparent pole which goes up his rectum does kind of twist around a bit. But at the end of the day, it gets across Ryuk's personality, and that's what matters for me. And well, for now that is all the figures in my collection. Wait, what's that? A package, I wonder? What could be inside it? More figures perhaps? Unboxing video time, or so I would like to have said, but to be honest I did record an unboxing segment here, but the recording just went mental, like look how jumpy this all is, so sorry, I guess no unboxing segment this time around. But let's not dwell on the webcam failures. I won both these figures just the other day in a eBay auction, and if the title card didn't make it clear, these are K-On! Figures, which happen to be very commonly found on eBay auctions. The first is this Mio figure, specifically with her Romeo costume she wore for the Cultural Festival Plaything in episode 19 of K-On! Season 2. And although there is the odd scuff, this figure is in remarkably good condition and captures Mio nervousness excellently. My only gripe is how oversized the base is, but that is again a small gripe. Oh, and yes, I do want to get the matching Ritsu Juliet figure, but for now all I have is this normal Ritsu figure. And yes, Ritsu is my favourite character in the series, and this figure does her justice, getting across her fun and cheerful nature. There isn't really much more to say about these two figures, though, except for the fact they look good, and now I finally have some K-On! Representation in my figure collection. Okay, so those are my two new K-On! Figures, meaning we have finally come to an end. Oh look, another package, though is this bit getting old already? Yes, time for another unboxing segment, and I promise this is the last time. Yes, unboxing video, and I may not be as much of an amateur at this as you may think, as I used to have a TCG channel. I won't link it, so try find it if you want, where I did a lot of unboxings videos on, so I'm not unfamiliar with this type of segment. Anyway, as usual with these eBay things, they're quite small boxes, which I appreciate, and although there's quite a bit of inside packaging, it's not excessive, and it makes sure all these figures and stuff are in great condition and don't break on the way, which is a real fear. And they always come in these nice bags, which I quite enjoy. If you haven't guessed already, well, I'm in title card reset. This is a Medaka Box figure. So until the figure's face is revealed, you can guess who it is, but there's really not many characters in Medaka Box who actually have figures, so it's like a 1 in 5 chance here. And yes, it is Naze, my favourite character, maybe Kumagawa may be a favourite. These two flip-flop between my two favourite characters in the series. But yeah, they're great. Obviously, you'll get a better look at the figure as a whole when I do the whole spinning disc. You know what I mean. I've been doing it all throughout the video, but you'll see in better detail when I do a proper photography thing after this unboxing segment. But yeah, that's how these figures come in the boxes from these eBay auctions, if you are wondering. And let's go over to the cool photography. Naze Yuka, also known as Kujiro Kurokami, is, as I said a minute ago, either my favourite or my second favourite character in Medaka Box. And although I much prefer her bandage knife in the face look, this figure still looks amazing, and also the bandage thing over her head just looks cool. There really aren't many Medaka Box figures to start with, so I'm just happy I have this one, as to be honest it just looks great. So there you go, all 33 of my figures plus 2 I have pre-ordered. And yes, I'm sure you're all waiting in anticipation for the grand total, so should we see if my clickbaity title was the truth or a lie? Counting the 2 Konosuba figures I've pre-ordered but that haven't arrived yet, the grand total that I have spent on anime and manga figures is a whopping £787.78, or for you Americans, $1,035.42. Yeah, that's a lot of money to spend on plastic and resin. However, I do not regret spending such a ludicrous amount of money for one simple reason. That being that I love my figure collection, and I don't care if you say that I wasted my money, because I probably wasted a hell lot more on alcohol. Editor's note, I also won these 2 figures of King Crimson and Ram in eBay auctions while editing this video, so I won't add them to the total, but there's some preliminary pictures, and if you follow my Instagram and Twitter, you'll see them when they arrive. Comment of the week comes from Hero Thinker with his honest opinion on the Goku Black arc. If you have any comments on my figure collection, then tell me in the comment section down below, and if you have a suggestion for a future video, then again the comment section is funny enough down below. Also, don't forget to check out my Twitter at SethTheS for channel updates and just general chatter, and my DMs are always open if you want to chat to me directly. Or check out my Instagram at SethTheSin_cosplay to see my cosplays or random anime merchandise. So with all that said and done, I have been Seth the Sin, the deadly sin of geek, and I am signing out. Stay safe, everyone.